What's up, guys? Back with the draft grades. The first one we're doing this year is going to be Ross, saved by Le'Veon Bell. Probably best he doesn't have him on his team this year. Running back keeper, Ezekiel Elliott, one of the best consistent guys that you've had in the league in the last few years. So never a bad thing to start your team with that. Then you go and grab Austin Eckler with your first overall pick. Not the biggest Eckler fan, I get it. I'm a little worried that his catches are going to go down without having Phillip Rivers. I think that was more of a byproduct of Rivers than it was of the offense itself. Tyrod will run a little bit more. We don't really know what Herbert will be. But when you got Zeke and you're talking about Eckler as your second, you're not sitting bad at all. The other running backs you grabbed in the 7th round, you grabbed Cohen, which might be a really nice add early in the season with Montgomery being injured, and who knows how bad that injury is actually going to be for David Montgomery, that Tariq Cohen might have a much bigger role. He had like 80 catches last year. So as far as with the PPR, he's a nice bye-week fill-in case something happens. You got Boston Scott again, another guy that early on might play some dividends, and I think he's going to be part of the offense for the entire year. So you're going to have somebody there, once again, that might have 3-4 catches a week that's going to, get you about 8 points. But if you're needing a bye week fill-in, that's a nice pick. And then Tony Pollard, you're covering your tail with your number one asset with Elliott. Tony Pollard showed that he can play well last year. My biggest concern with Zeke going into this year is, will Tony Pollard eat into some of those carries? I mean, when they got up big, instead of keeping Zeke in there and him having those monster games, they put him on the bench and put Pollard in. You got that much money tied to a guy. You don't want him to get hurt when it's unnecessary, and Pollard has shown that he can come in and do that. So you might not get the massive games from Elliott, but you'll probably still get the consistency. Looking at the wide receiving core, 3rd round, you took DJ Moore. He's posed for a breakout this year. He's the kind of wide receiver that Teddy Bridgewater likes. He can run the routes. He's the underneath guy. And I think that he's going to have a big year. How big, we're not really quite sure. But then you also got A.J. Brown with your next pick. That guy could be the number one wide receiver in the league. He absolutely could be. Where you got him in the 4th round, that's a really good value. Not sure if that offense is going to want to throw the ball. They got the Derrick Henry train, but he only needs one play to make big. And the second half of the season, he was like the wide receiver 1 in the entire NFL in fantasy football. So there's a lot of upside there. Grabbing Michael Gallup, who is an underrated guy in Dallas. Everybody thinks, CeeDee Lamb's coming in. I think Gallup could still have another 1,000-yard season again. Yeah, he had one last year. Then you got a couple flyers with Justin Jefferson and Paris Campbell. We'll see how those play out. You took them late. Maybe Jefferson a little early in round 9, but if you believe in the talent, at that point you're taking who you want. But then getting Deshaun Watson in the 6th round, that could be a really good pick. He just got the new contract, but he doesn't have a lot of options to throw it to. Nobody really knows who their number 1 is going to be. Maybe that's the best person that's for is Deshaun Watson. I don't know. We'll find out. Grabbing Daniel Jones as a backup in the second to last lap. He had some really good games last year. If he can get the turnovers down, he's the guy that you only need once, but hoping, Deshaun doesn't get injured. Tyler Higbeast, he really went crazy at the end of last year. The question is, will that maintain, or are they still going to try to get Everett in that offense? Are they going to go to the 3 wide receiver set like they did at the beginning of the year, or more of the 2 tight end set that they did late in the year? Tells me that they probably are looking towards that because they let Brandon Cooks go, so they're not worried about the 3 wide receiver set as much, but we'll see. And TJ Hawkinson, he had that monster first game last year and then kind of was non-existent the rest of the year. He could be posed for a breakout. I know he's still having some issues with that ankle from last year, so we'll see if that helps. But once again, as your second guy, not a big deal. Let's kind of see how that plays out. Overall, this is a pretty solid team, obviously heavy on the running back depth. Wide receivers are guys that you might not really know the names, but doesn't mean they're any worse, or better than some of the other guys. They got some talent there. They're young and they're up and coming, and they have a higher ceiling than maybe some of the other guys around them. Overall, this team, I think it's going to be in contention for the playoffs easily. I would give this team a B. Like I said, there might be a little bit of hesitation with some of the wide receiver depth. There's not a lot there past your top 3. Justin Jefferson and Paris Campbell haven't done anything in the NFL, and you have nobody else on the roster. So if one person gets injured or a bye week, you could not have anything going right now. Obviously, this is just draft grades. Things will change as you pick players. But overall, I think it's a B. Your starting lineup's good. Your depth could use some help. Maybe you didn't need the second quarterback or the second tight end because you got somebody that you feel confident in, and add a little bit more depth to the wide receiver room. But overall, a B, pretty good grade.